Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn's Tuesdays. It's December 13th, 2022. We're very glad you're with us today. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just enter your questions into the chat window. For those watching on Facebook, just enter your questions into the comment field. We will be sure to get those questions answered for you. Also, if you'd like, for those on Zoom, if you'd like to connect with everybody else who's on the call today, it's a great opportunity to put in your contact information, put in your name, your LinkedIn address, what you're looking for, a couple target companies, because it's a great way to network with other people who are, you never know who you may be able to help or who somebody else may be able to help you by letting them know your information. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I started a second website, careerusa.org, to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon, or if you see me in person, I usually have copies with me. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007, and I'll tell you about our upcoming program we're going to have this Friday at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, also known as the PIC crew. Just remember, your resume and your LinkedIn profile isn't going to get you a job. It will get you a phone call. How well you answer those questions when the person calls you on the phone, that's what could lead to your next job. So practice, practice, practice. All right, well, our speaker today was supposed to be DB Winky, how to uncover the hidden job market. But I got a text message from her this morning that she had to take her mom to the emergency room. So she is not going to be available with us. So the last minute sort of scramble. We're going to replay how to drive recruiters to your LinkedIn profile. This is with Ruth Lipsky. She is a career coach with Lee Heck Harrison. I think it's an excellent presentation. It covers a lot of the basics and things you need to know about. So just so to be aware, this is a prior recorded session. So if you have any comments or questions, please put them in the chat window. We'll be sure to get those questions answered for you at the end of the session.
We're going to be talking today about how we're going to get recruiters more interested in your LinkedIn profile. And this is something that we're seeing much more often than we did in the past, when recruiters quite often were concentrating on the resumes that were coming in response to an ad that they had put out on one of the job boards. But now recruiters are moving to LinkedIn in order to move a lot faster and to find people with the skills that they think are going to be needed in the organization quickly. So LinkedIn now has two major purposes. One of them is going to be for when a recruiter has your resume in hand because you applied for a job in the company. They want to know a little bit more about you, and LinkedIn generally has more information than a resume would. So they're going to be taking a look at your LinkedIn profile in order to see what other skills you have, what experiences they think might be in addition to what you've already indicated on the resume, and if there are things that they think are going to be able to make you a better candidate. But the other side of LinkedIn is that you need to position yourself so that the recruiters can find you. Over a third of job offers these days are being made by recruiters who don't post the job. They go directly to LinkedIn, put in title, skills, maybe a geographic location, and they come up with all kinds of people who have the skill set, who have the experience for what they're looking for. So this we are going to concentrate on in order to make sure that you're able to get the recruiters to find you and to be able to assess your skills based on the job offer that they have. So the first thing we need to know is that LinkedIn calculates a score for your profile every day. And the reason that they do that is because they feel that they have a worth, and some profiles are better than others. So the score that you get from LinkedIn is going to be based on how much information you have, how complete your profile is. It's going to include the number of connections, what you put in your interest area at the bottom of the LinkedIn profile. If you're doing job searches, that increases your score. If you're networking with people, that increases your score. And if you're on the home page, reading, commenting, maybe posting your own content, that's a positive and will affect your score also. Now, as soon as you stop activity on LinkedIn, and let's say that you've done a lot of work on LinkedIn and you're satisfied with what it looks like, what you're saying, how you're presenting yourself on social media, and you stop activating, you stop networking, you stop working with the LinkedIn system itself, then your score will start going down. You will never be able to see your score. This is part of their algorithm. They will not tell you what contributes to the score. They will not tell you what values they have associated with these activities. All we know is they do have a scoring system, and it's based on recent activity and continuous activity. There's some things we can probably guess at. We would know, for example, that if you wrote a recommendation for someone, that would give you a higher point than if you simply went out and went into the skill section and endorsed someone for a skill. So the amount of time, the amount of activity that it takes in order to be part of the LinkedIn system is going to contribute to what your score is. So when a recruiter does a search, this is a page from the LinkedIn Recruiter software. They're going to put in a job title. In this case, we're looking for a project manager. They're going to put in a location, Greater Chicago area, and they're looking for just two skills, business strategy and analytics. And what comes back to them are 42,798 total candidates who meet this set of parameters that the recruiter is looking for. LinkedIn never does anything randomly. So the person at the top of this list, LinkedIn says is the most qualified for this job. Given just this little bit of information, LinkedIn is going to give the recruiter a list of people in the order that LinkedIn feels is the best suited for the requirements that the recruiter has put in so far. And we know that an awful lot of the reason why people come to the top of this list, and recruiters will normally look at maybe the top 100 or so, but the reason they come to the top is because they're active on LinkedIn. They have very complete profiles. They have information in their profile that a recruiter is going to be able to read and understand and be able to assess whether that meets their needs. But LinkedIn has also given the recruiters a couple of different sort features. So when you start off with over 42,000 people, LinkedIn allows them to use the spotlight to look for things that are more specific. So here they are over on this side. If you want to get to the top of the list, you should be open to new opportunities. You don't necessarily need to have that hashtag open to work frame around your picture, but you do need to be open to new opportunities so that the recruiters can see you. You need to have company connections. So if you are interested in working for a company, you need to be able to connect with people within that organization so that you've indicated that you've searched out some folks that might know more about the company. You also need to be engaged in their talent brand. And what that means is that you are following the company on their LinkedIn page. So every company has a LinkedIn page. It's a company page rather than an individual page. And you can go to that page and find out more information about the company, about the people who are there, about the jobs. Some of it's repeated on the company's webpage, but there's a lot of information on the LinkedIn page that's not available elsewhere. And one of the things that you can do on the LinkedIn company page that you can't do anywhere else is you can express an interest in working for that company. And you do that by following the company, and that makes you engaged in their talent brand. What that means is that on your home page, now you're going to see information that that company provides for the rest of the LinkedIn community. So you'll get information about the financials. You'll get information about what they're doing on new products, what they're doing with employee engagement, how they're supporting different charity efforts in the community. So as soon as you follow a company on LinkedIn, then on the home page, that gives that company access to your homepage so that they can put information there that might make you even more interested in working for that company. Now this one, the likely to respond spotlight, this is another feature that you cannot see, but LinkedIn tracks about you. So in your messaging page on LinkedIn, a recruiter could send a note to you saying, I'm looking for a project manager in the greater Chicago area, and I see you've got skills in business strategy and analytics. Would you be interested in talking to us and starting the interview process? If you ignore that request for an interview, then your likely to respond score goes down. If you respond in any way whatsoever, your likely to respond score goes up. So you should always respond to the recruiters, even if it's, I'm not interested in moving to Chicago, but thank you so much for your interest. If you ever have a job open that is remote, I'd love to talk to you about it. Or it can be more that looks like a lower level job than what I'm looking for, but thanks for the information and the invitation. So one way or another, you need to be able to respond back to them because that likely to respond score is part of the assessment that LinkedIn does on you to determine whether you should be at the top of a list or at the bottom of a list. Now, past applicants, this is only for the companies that LinkedIn has joined with so that LinkedIn can see the applicant tracking system for that company and determine whether there has been additional applications that you've made to that company. But it's a very valuable one because LinkedIn's goal is to have all companies associated with their business joined in so that they can see all of the applicant tracking system activities. But the more often you apply for a company, the more the company feels that you know something about the company, maybe their brand, maybe their products, maybe their culture. But past applicants get a higher priority than people who are first applicants. So let's take a look at what the algorithm for LinkedIn is looking like. We just looked at the spotlight features. This is part of the mutual interest. And the number one part of the algorithm is that you need to show interest in that company by responding to recruiters, connecting with them, following the company, making sure your hashtag open to work is, if not at least visible, then at least available to the recruiters, or if you continue to apply for the job. Mutual interest is a huge part of how you're going to be found on LinkedIn. And being able to go onto the company pages to follow those companies is going to give the recruiters and LinkedIn a better feel for what type of role you're looking for. The second part of the algorithm is what we always thought was most important. Turns out it is a secondary importance, but having a similar title to what they're looking for, having the skills that that recruiter is looking for, and being able to pass the skill quiz are all going to be important features of how we're going to make sure that the recruiter is able to find you. So let's talk about how we're going to increase your visibility in more detail. And the first part is at the top of your profile page, you have the ability to put in a title and a company. The LinkedIn default is to give the current job title at the current company. But they recently opened this up to 220 characters. So they're asking you to put skills in the headline area because you saw how little information the recruiters are given. Let's go back and take a look at that. When the recruiters get information about a person, they're given their current title and company, they're given their current job and the past 2 jobs. That's about it. You don't get to see the person's about section. You don't get to see the details of how long they were necessarily in some of the previous jobs. So the information that's here needs to be in the headline area. This is your way of talking to the recruiter. By putting information in the headline, you're going to be able to say what it is that you do well and emphasize how you want to move into your next position. So it used to be we would just say, yeah, put titles, accountant and senior accountant, but here the person is saying that they're able to increase productivity in highly regulated industries. That gives the recruiter a lot more to work with. And even if it's not necessarily the perfect fit for that recruiter's company, they're going to be interested in seeing more about you because they recognize that you've got more information in your profile than perhaps other people do. Some of the times, if you are a high level, like if you're a director level, and in this case, it's customer relations, you've got a set of information in your headline that is strategic. It's high level, helping the world become more customer centric. Because you don't need to get into the details of it. You're just trying to say, this is the value I bring to your company. This is what I can do. If you are dealing with something that is very technical, like a full stack application developer, putting in the software that they're able to work with is going to make it a lot easier for the recruiter to be able to say, yep, we're looking for somebody with JavaScript. Let's go get this person. You can also be a little bit more creative. IT project manager, I can explain high tech to my mom. Business analyst, introvert living in a department of extroverts. Try not to get too cute, but sometimes being a little bit different is going to be positive because they see that you've got a bit of a sense of humor, that you see that there's something that you're saying that is different from the way other people have said it. So you have 220 characters for your headline area. Put in your value statement, what you can do for the company. It's about the only way you're going to be able to talk to the recruiters and get them involved in your profile. LinkedIn has recently added a skill assessment also. It used to be that recruiters would look at the number of endorsements that were made on each one of the skills, and from that they would determine how talented, how skilled they were in that particular area. Turns out that's not the best way to find people with skills. So they created the skill assessment, the quizzes, and they're in 3 different categories. You can have technical, which is more the programming languages. You can have the business tests, which are the Microsoft Suite and QuickBooks, and the design area. If you have a test that you have taken and you've completed it, LinkedIn is telling us that you are 20% more likely to get hired for a role that requires that skill. So take the test. They're generally going to be 15 to 20 questions. They are all going to be multiple choice. It is a timed test, so you have to do it in one session. You can't get out of it and come back. To pass the test, you need a 70% or better. And when you get a 70% or better, you get a badge. Looks like just a little check mark on a board. But it's very visible when a recruiter is taking a look or a hiring manager is taking a look at your skill set. It is only valid for 12 months. The intent here is that after a year, there are probably new features that have been added to this, and they want to make sure that you are competent in the latest versions of whatever you're taking the test on. If you don't pass the test, if you don't get a 70%, then you can't take the test until 3 months have passed. Nobody sees that you have failed the test. That's not collected, that's not visible to anybody, but you would be able to take the test later on, after a couple of months. Now, when you do take the test or back into the LinkedIn Recruiter software, one of the things that recruiters are able to do is that when they say that they have skills that they're looking for, here there are three different skills that have tests associated with them. So JavaScript, Swift, and Ruby on Rails are all technical programming languages that have a test associated with them. And the recruiter is able to say, I want to see the people and I want to prioritize the people who have passed at least one of these skill tests. So the person at the top of their list, out of, in this case, there are over 1,000 candidates, there's a check mark by JavaScript and Ruby on Rails. So they passed 2 out of the 3 programming skills that they're looking for. And you can go down and take a look at the ones that the other folks have taken too. So if you have a technical background and if you feel that that's going to be a key for your next job, then by all means, take the test. It doesn't hurt to take it because nobody sees if you don't pass it. But if you do pass it, it really gives a boost to your career chances because recruiters are looking for the proof that you truly do have that skill. Okay on those? We can ask questions as we go along.
No questions so far.
Okay. In the skills section, you're going to want to use keywords, and the keywords you can put in a lot of different areas of your LinkedIn profile. You can put them in the headline area if you think that it's a skill that could be of huge interest to a new company, but you're absolutely going to want to put them in the about and the experience sections because those are where you're explaining how you use those skills. The skills that are still most needed, the hard skills, definitely, if you have those, you will have put them in your profile because they're part of who you are and what you've been doing with the company. But take a look at the soft skills that recruiters are looking for these days. Creativity, persuasion, collaboration, adaptability, and emotional intelligence. Those are all skills that indicate that you can fit into an organization and are going to be able to merge into the culture of a new company. So recruiters, if they're looking for these types of words in your profile, you need to add those in. You can put them in the skills area. You can add them into a paragraph in the about section that talks more about your management style. But put them in because recruiters are indicating an interest in them. If you're looking for a remote job, you need to put in some of the self-management skills that recruiters are looking for. The active learning, the resilience, the stress tolerance, and the self-motivation. Those 4 skills are generally associated with success in a remote environment. So having these in your profile, either in the about section or in the skills section, if you have room there, because you only have 50 available, are going to indicate to a recruiter that you've got the ability to be successful working in a remote environment. And then you'll need to be able to check the skills that you have in your profile to make sure that you have all the skills that are associated with that role. So in the top section of your LinkedIn profile, you've got a More button. If you click on More, one of the things you can do is build a resume. And when you build a resume, you're going to want to create the resume from your LinkedIn profile. And then you're going to be asked to choose a job title. And in my case, I put down career counselor. And what it gives me are resume insights. And it says that for a career counselor, these are the skills that are normally associated with that. But here are some that are associated with being a career counselor that I don't have on my profile. And LinkedIn is telling me that I will have a more powerful message if I add those additional skills. So if I have those skills, I'm probably going to add those into the profile. But it's a good way to check to make sure that you've got all the skills that are associated with the type of role you're looking for. And we'll take a look at this once we get on to our LinkedIn profile itself. The more content you have on your profile, the higher your score is going to be. and the more searchable words you're going to have so that the recruiter is going to be able to find you. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to be using as the profile is going to be visible to recruiters. First thing you notice is you have to have information here. Generally 2 to 3 job titles separated by the pipe, that straight up and down thing above the enter key. And then putting in some information about what you do best, what you want recruiters to know, what you want anybody to know who comes onto your profile. You will also see that in the analytics area, watch these numbers. These are the number of people who have looked at your profile, and these are the number of search appearances that you've been involved in. The more you put into your profile, the more open you have, the higher these numbers should go. So if you're just now starting to work on your LinkedIn profile and you're adding in more content, watch how these numbers are going to go up. If they don't go up, then you're not doing something right, and you might want to start moving in another direction and maybe adding more information in other areas of this LinkedIn profile. But for the most part, as long as you're continuing to add information, your analytics are going to go up, which means you're being found. In the About section, make sure this is readable. And being readable means that you can't have any paragraph that is more than 4 lines deep. If it's more than 4 lines deep, it becomes a wall of words, and a recruiter and a hiring manager will not read dense paragraphs. So lay it out so that it's readable and that it gives the information that you think is going to be important. Putting your contact information is in the About section is going to be important. I like it at the bottom. Some people like it at the top. I think the top needs to be the area where you grab the attention of somebody who's on your profile. And if they're interested enough, they'll find it. One of the matches that we know is important, not as much as the mutual interest, but certainly on the skills and title side, is having a title that matches the search that the recruiter is doing. So you can add more titles to your profile. And you can do this on your LinkedIn profile, and you can do it on your resume. So the official title I have is Career Consultant at Lee Hecht Harrison, but Career Coach is used a lot in the industry. So I put a pipe in between these 2 titles to indicate, here's the title that I have officially, but I am also known as this in the industry. And sometimes that's important because you need to translate your title for a recruiter because they don't know what it means. And if you're looking for a job that has a different title than what you have, then you need to have in this additional information in the title area so recruiters know what you do, how you did it. The other thing you're going to want to do in the title area is that you're going to be taking a look at what your title was, but in parentheses, you can put information on what exactly you did. So although I was in the training and development team, all of my time really was spent in moving our written classroom material into e-learning and remote learning. So I put in titles for instructional designer and e-learning developer because I did enough work as this title that would allow me to move into those fields. So sometimes you need to put in more information about what other titles you think would be appropriately describe what you did in that role. And then in your skills section, know that in the tools and technology section, just about all of these skills have a test associated with them. And when you pass it, it's going to give you that little badge so that people are going to be able to see that you have strong skills in this area. Now, there are other areas that you're going to be adding in information. Most of the time, you're going to start on your LinkedIn profile by taking what you have in your resume copying and pasting it into LinkedIn, because that's how LinkedIn is set up. It wants to be your online resume. But we have information here where you can add additional sections. And when you add more sections in the core area, they really want you to have your education. They want you to have a title for your position. They've added in the career break area. So if you wanted to say that you are not employed because of one of these reasons, you can add that in as an explanation of your gap between jobs. So if you're searching for a job right now and it's over 3 months, you might want to add in a title in your experience section that says, I'm undergoing a career transition. Or my position was eliminated, I'm looking for something new. Either one of those are going to be fine. Or if you feel that you are taking time off because of any of these other reasons, put that in. Normally, a 3-month gap between jobs is not noteworthy, but after that, it might be worthwhile to put in something that shows why you are not employed. So that's the information for the core. For the recommended areas, this is going to be generally the things that are going to enhance your resume type of information. And this add courses is a good one to take a look at. If you had to take courses at work, you can add those in here to indicate that you took a managing difficult conversations, leadership in time of crisis. Putting in the courses that you took, the classes you took at work, indicates that you're a lifetime learner and that you're probably going to be more easily able to learn new things in a new position. You should also put in all of the courses that you had to take on a yearly basis, probably came from the compliance or the legal team that were required in order for you to stay in your job. Anti-money laundering, privacy, diversity, being able to take these classes on an annual basis, put them in here because they indicate that you understand the importance of that class and you fully expect to have to take that class in the future also. So adding courses is going to be able to expand the information that is in your profile page by showcasing the things that you have learned in addition to just your regular job title. This additional section gives you some other information to put in. If you have ever had any volunteer experience, huge plus that recruiters and hiring managers are looking for. They recognize that their company is an important part of the community and that they've got a reputation and they want to be able to be active within. Being able to say that you've got volunteer experience is going to increase their interest in you because you're probably going to fit in with the culture better. If you have published anything, if you've got patents, if you've had awards, the test scores, stay away from test scores if they're things like the SAT or the ACT or what your grade point was in school. If you've been out of school for 2 years, nobody cares about that. They care about what you've done as opposed to what your grades were. But this project area is a good one. One of the concerns people have on resumes and on LinkedIn is that when they're talking about what they did in their job, they generally have 3 to 5, maybe 7 different bullet points on what they did, and it's all fairly compressed. They can't tell the whole story because it would just completely blow up the page numbers that you have in a resume. But LinkedIn allows you to add projects. And when you add projects, you can put in the project name, make it anything you want, what company you were working for, but this description area is 2,000 characters deep. This allows you to put in your whole story. Here's the background information. Here's the situation. Here's the activities that I had. Here are the things that I did. Here are the obstacles I had to overcome. And here's the result. This gives you enough space that you can put in a tremendous number of keywords. And you're going to be able to prove that you were using those skills, those talents in a way that added value to the company. So adding projects is like an interview answer where you're going to give a 1.5-minute talk on here's why I did it, here's why it was needed, here's how I did it, and here's the result. So adding projects can increase considerably the information that you have in your profile. So let's see where all of that ends up. You've got your experience section, you've got your education section, licenses and certifications. If you have any at all, put them in here. You may have them in your experience section, you may have them in your about section, but also put them into this category, because this category apparently has a higher search value than if you put it elsewhere in your profile. Volunteering, skills, recommendations, but then we have the additional ones that we were just talking about adding. Courses, these are the courses I have to take every year through my company. If you don't remember the exact title, go back and make one up. You know you had to probably do them in these certain areas. You can probably put that in and be fairly accurate. Projects are going to be in a separate area so that you will be able to open them up and see more of the information. But this is all beautifully scannable and is available to the recruiters and is going to increase the number of times you're able to use keywords.
Ruth, Ruben asks, should we put in expired licenses?
Yes, because it indicates that you had the ability to get that license. It may not be active right now, but sometimes those licenses are hard to get, and it indicates the level of technical knowledge that you had to have in order to do that. So yes, put them in. And let's go back into the section where we were talking about making sure you've got the right skills. We're saying in this more button here, you can build a resume. And when you build a resume, it'll say, do you want to create it from the profile page that you have right now, or do you want to upload a resume? You should never upload a resume because it's not scannable, it is not searchable. Recruiters don't really see that. They want to see the things in the order that LinkedIn has it. Having a resume on the LinkedIn profile is redundant in a lot of ways, and you don't want a recruiter picking up the resume and only reading that part, because that's what, maybe a page and a half, 2 pages long, where you can put an unlimited amount of information in LinkedIn that you want them to see. So let's create a resume from the profile, and I want you to put in a title. And we'll go with career coach. And it's going to put in all the information that is in my profile. That is going to be in a format that I could use to apply for jobs. But it also gives this resume insights, and I find this to be valuable because it's a fairly new feature. But it's telling me that these are the skills that you would expect to see in a career coach. And here are some skills that you also expect to see in a career coach, but I don't have them in my profile. I can go in and take a look and see if these are things that I need to add in to become more valuable, more searchable. At this point, I'm not going to do it, but you should be taking a look at this because it's a valuable way of seeing, do I have all the skills that are needed? Okay, let's take a look at how we're going to connect with companies, because that mutual interest means that you need to be following companies. Did somebody just shout out a company that they're interested in?
You can unmute your mic and hold down the space bar if you like and let us know a company, or if you want to type it in the chat window, you can type it in the chat window.
Paychex, Paychex.
Paychecks. there it is. Whoops. Whenever you're in LinkedIn, you're going to be given an option here. And you're just going to check, click the one that you really want. So there's paychecks. You can follow it immediately. It's good to view the page first. So let's view the page, and you're going to click the blue follow button. That's going to put paychecks into your LinkedIn profile in the interest area. And the interest area is the one at the very bottom. So in the interest area here, it's going to say who you're following, what companies you're following, what groups, what schools. It'll be added in to this section of your interest area as another company that you're interested in, you're following, you want to hear more information about that. So on here, as soon as I hit follow, it's going to be added into my profile. But there are other things that we're going to be doing on here, and you see that they've got some tabs, and one of them is jobs. When you click on jobs, it could take you to the company page on the web that has their whole career page, but you want to create a job alert. And when you create a job alert, you're going to put in the title that you're looking for, and each company is able to put in what types of titles they're going to want. So here I'll take a project delivery manager from their list, and I'm going to put it in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. When I create a job alert, that means that anytime that a recruiter posts a job on LinkedIn that deals with that title, LinkedIn is going to take a look at everybody's profile that has created a job alert, and is going to push back to the recruiter all of the profiles that match those job requirements that they just posted. And recruiters are going to take a shortcut whenever possible. If they just posted a job and LinkedIn says, here are 5 people who are interested in your company and are interested in this type of job and who have a LinkedIn profile that includes this information, the recruiter's going to go to those 5 profiles and take a closer look at those people. So creating a job alert for each company that you're interested in is going to go beyond the normal mutual interest of follow, but it's going to show extreme interest when you've got a job alert for the company. Now be aware that LinkedIn will only allow you to have 20 job alerts, and some of them you're probably going to want to use in your jobs tab. So don't try and create too many of them. Use them sparingly, but it's a good feature to have. Now, the other thing you're going to do on this LinkedIn company page is that it's going to tell you about the people. And in the people area, it's going to tell you about the 16,221 employees who are currently employed at this company and who have a LinkedIn profile. It'll give you information about where they live and where they studied. Let's show more right here, so that you've got a little bit of information about these people. If you click on this next button, it gives you 2 new columns. One is what they do and what they're skilled at. What they do tells you what department they work in. So if you're interested in getting into the sales department for this company, you've narrowed it down to 4,546 people. Not much of a narrow down, but it is a little bit closer. If you click next again, then it's going to give you your last 2 columns, what they studied, but how you're connected. So if you click on any of these, am I connected to anybody? Yeah, I am. And it gives you the opportunity. You don't keep track of everybody in your network and where they are. This is a good opportunity for you to be able to find out, do I know somebody at this company? In which case, I would go into her profile, send a message to her and say, I see you're at Paychecks. I'm interested in the career opportunity there. Do you know who's hiring for this job? And give the job title. And since we're a first degree connection, Karen might be able to provide some information. Now, if I don't have any first degree connections, I'm going to look for second degree connections. And second degree connections are people who I have in my network, but they aren't in, I just messed that one up. I don't have them as a first degree connection, but I know people who do have them as first degree connections. So in taking a look through these, I'll find the people who are in the departments that are probably of more interest to me. And if need be, I can go back into this area and say, second degree connections, I've got 36 of them in sales. I want to see those 36 people. And here they are. And then I can connect with them and send a message to them that way. Never use the white connect button because that sends the automated, I'd like to be part of your LinkedIn network, and that's not worth a connection request. You're going to go into clicking on their name. You're going to use the blue connect button because a blue connect button will always allow you to send a message. I see we have people in common in our LinkedIn networks. I'm interested in job opportunities, or I have applied for this job opportunity at Paychex. Would love to know how you like it there. Let's connect. So your interest at this point is just getting people to connect to you because this is part of what recruiters are looking for in the mutual interest area. Have you connected to people in my company? And if so, that gives you a higher score on the results than others would. So always connect with people in a company and use the connect request. You have 300 characters. Put a message in there. It's going to tell them why you want to connect. We have people in common. I have a strong interest in healthcare IT. I'd love to connect with you and keep in touch with what you're seeing in the market. There's generally some reason why you would want to select people to be part of this. Now, if we wanted to take out that second degree and that sales, and let's say that we are looking for just recruiters. Recruiters are the people who are most likely to connect with you. And there are 272 people who are either currently recruiters or who have been recruiters in the past and have that as a title in their LinkedIn profile. This is still a little bit more than you want to go through. 272 is a lot, but if you know what area you would probably be part of, say you're in the Florida area, you can narrow it down to here are the 35 recruiters who are supporting the Florida office and probably the southern region. Taking a look through and finding if they truly are recruiters or talent acquisition, or they just happen to be one in the past, being able to find out if they're college recruiters or IT recruiters or executive recruiters will help you narrow down who you want to connect to. And when you do connect with a recruiter, you're normally going to indicate very specifically what role you're looking for, and you're going to be talking about what skills you have to offer. So if you're connecting to somebody, you're going to say, I applied for, and then put the job title because of my strong experience in blank, blank, blank. We would love to talk. Let's connect. Recruiters are going to take shortcuts wherever they can. Some of them are going to be very active on LinkedIn and are going to reply to you fairly quickly. Some of them are not active because they're not as comfortable in LinkedIn. So find 3 to 4 people to connect with in every company in the HR department if they have enough in the recruiter area. Now you can also try and find out who it is that's going to be the person who's going to make the decision on whether you're going to get the job or not. So let's say we're looking for a job in IT. So we're going to put in, I'm looking for a VP of IT. There's 19 of them. You may have to take a look at each one of their titles, possibly going into their profile to find out what it is that they do. But being able to find the people who are probably involved in the hiring process, connecting with them and letting them know that you feel you have the skills for a job that you saw posted and you've applied for is often an easy way to be able to get to the attention of the people who are making those decisions. Okay with those? Okay, now let's take a look at universities and colleges. If you could tell me a school that you went to or a school that you're associated with.
You can unmute your mic by holding down the space bar, or you can type whatever university you went to in the chat window.
Okay, Texas A&M.
Okay, let's go. Texas A&M University, you can always find the logo. You can follow it, but we're going to view the page. If you attended the school, then it's going to be in your education section of your LinkedIn profile. Schools are an underused area of LinkedIn. If your spouse went to a school, add that into your LinkedIn profile. Not as an education, but simply that you're following it because you know somebody who has an interest here. If you're paying college tuition for your kids, put those schools in here too, follow them. But being able to put in more schools is generally a positive thing because it shows a broader set of interests. And on this case, we don't care about jobs because we're not looking for a job at Texas A&M, but we are interested in alumni. And for the alumni, there are 430,000 people who have attended A&M in the last 122 years and who have a LinkedIn profile. Here they are. So from here, let's say that we're still interested in Paychex as a company. Did anybody who went to AT&T with me work at Paychex? Yeah, 12 of them. Now here are people who used to work at Paychex, but they have moved on to other companies. So these are the ones who are currently at Paychex. And it gives you the opportunity to take a look and see if you can connect with these people. Connecting with people who went to the same school that you did is a really positive thing to do because you've got a mutual interest already established. I see you also went to Texas A&M. I enjoyed my time there. I'm considering Paychex as a possible career move. How do you like it there? Let's connect. And then after you connect and your first degree connection, then you can ask the more specific questions. I've applied for this job. Do you know who the hiring manager is? Do you know which recruiter is handling this? But at this point, you're just saying, we have something in common. We went to school at the same school. Let's connect. Very powerful way of doing this because most people are going to accept an invitation from someone that they feel they have something in common with, and there's nothing better than a school. If you're using a school that one of your other family members went to, you can use the same type of thing. I see you went to Texas A&M University. My wife enjoyed the time there. My son is currently there. My dad keeps talking about Texas A&M. He enjoyed his time there. Would love to connect. So you've got 300 characters. Create a message that is going to be of interest to someone and is going to indicate the interest there. So finding alumni who went to the same school that you did, that are currently working in a company that you're interested in, a great way to network. Questions on any of that or on anything we've covered?
Well, I've got two questions. I mean, if anybody has any questions, please unmute your mic and ask away. Otherwise, I've got a couple of them I'd like to ask before we get done here. Anybody question?
I have a question.
Regarding LinkedIn skills test, are they about the same difficulty as certification tests? I.e., are the LinkedIn tests for Microsoft 365 products about the same as Microsoft's own test?
No, the certification tests are massive and very difficult. The ones that you'll find on LinkedIn, they find questions for each different area of that particular software or that particular service, and are going to try and give you questions about that. Remember, they're multiple choice. Sometimes you can guess at it, but it's hard to guess with some of the answers that they give you. I didn't pass all of the tests, so I took them off my profile. And I'm going to try them again in another month. I got that on my calendar. But no, that they can be difficult because they could be asking questions about some functionality that you didn't deal with, in which case it might be a little more difficult. But try them out. They are not easy tests. I'm hearing that 50% of the people who take them pass them. And LinkedIn is hoping to get that up to about 70%. So they might be changing that too.
All right. All right. So I have two questions for you. This came up in a session I was at yesterday. What are your thoughts about the green banner open to work around your name?
I like it because recruiters use that to find people. And if they're taking a look at that long list of names, when they've got their search results, if they see that green banner, it really does bring their eye to it. And I don't have anybody on here. Oh, here it is. They look for that green banner. That's one of the reasons that the green banner is so prominent by LinkedIn. They're trying to take the stigma out of being unemployed, and they're trying to make it as a business transaction of, I'm looking for another job. If you know of anything, I'm available. And for recruiters, I'm available more quickly than somebody who's already employed. And recruiters like that. I would not use that hashtag open to work banner if I was looking for an executive position, because those are going to be found by networking, and you're not going to need that on your profile.
All right. And the other question I've got that came up yesterday was, how long do you leave your prior job as a current job on your profile once you're gone?
Up to 3 months.
Up to 3 months. Okay.
Because during that time frame, the company still has the unofficial right to call you and say, how did you do this? Or, well, we're trying to train somebody in this and we got this error code. What do we do? So for 3 months, you're kind of still in that area of, I'm getting used to the idea that I'm unemployed. I may not want to go out and change everything immediately because I'm still trying to find my balance. But 3 months is generally what I've been seeing as the norm before a recruiter or a company starts asking, why are you still doing this?
Right. Okay. Very good.
I've got a couple
Else,
more
any
questions.
questions? All right, that is Ruth's presentation here. I know there were one question I saw in the chat window. Let me go back to it. The person was asking, where is that pipe symbol, that up and down symbol, that straight line that you see on Ruth's profile and some other people's profiles? That is located above the enter key. It's the shift backslash. So that's the standard key, would just be the backslash right above the enter key. If you do shift backslash, that gives you the up and down pipe symbol. If anybody else has any questions, I know somebody unmuted their mic for a second. Question. Melissa, did you have a question? I think you unmuted.
I did. I keep muting and unmuting myself. How do we search for recruiters in our discipline? I know that several have taught us how to do that, but I, for the life of me, can't remember how to do it.
Okay, my recommendation is you do something called a Boolean search. And what you want to do is, Ruth doesn't talk about it here in this presentation. Terry Sullivan talks about Boolean searches. I find them extremely important. So what you would do is in LinkedIn, in fact, here, let me go share a screen and we will go into LinkedIn. Hold on just a second. Let's go, I'll share my screen. Let's go to LinkedIn. So what kind of recruiter are you looking for?
Marketing.
Marketing. So I would do recruiter, R-E-C-U-R, recruiter. Well, if I could spell it right. Oops, search.
Not quite right, Jeff.
R-E-C-R.
R-E-C-R.
That it?
Yeah.
Recruiter, and then I do the and symbol. Okay, so a Boolean search is and, or not. So I like to say and then you said marketing.
Yes, please.
All right, so recruiter and marketing. So now what should come up should be recruiters who also have marketing somewhere in their profile, somewhere where it'll say that they're a, so here's a senior recruiter. Well, this is their past job maybe, but I mean, you could go through and do stuff, you know,
Okay.
that's the way you use a Boolean search. So I use it all the time. People give me a name like, you know, I'll see somebody on the internet and I don't know, you know, there's 15 people with the same name. So I can say and either their city or what kind of role they're in, and boom, that usually brings me right to the person you want.
Thank you.
Okay. And if you want to type, you can do senior recruiter. Now, if you were to do senior recruiter, so let's see, we're going to do senior recruiter. Senior recruiter, I would, well, I would, in that case, you want to put that in quotes because you want, otherwise, this will go and do anything that says senior, anything that says recruiter. By putting in senior recruiter in quotes, it has to have that phrase just like that and marketing somewhere in their profile.
Okay. Thank you.
And then you could even say, you could do and you could do a name of a company if you wanted to. You know, if you want to do, you know, so these people have those three things in there, so you can keep adding stuff. You could also go, if you didn't want to do and, you could say not. And those people would not be in there anymore who had paycheck in their profile someplace. So and, or, not, all capitalized, quotes, anything that you have multiple words that you want to put around. Let's see here. Catherine says, in the headline, how do you add more than one title? All right, in the headline. Okay, so we'll go look at my profile here. So here I have a few titles. So when you go to your profile, so in your LinkedIn profile, you're going to click on view profile. And then when you click here on the little pencil, scroll down, and then here's where you can see your headline and where you can put whatever you want to put. And, you know, you can put all that, you can put everything you want to, you can add whatever titles in there that you'd like to do. Okay, so that's the headline. Does that answer your question, Catherine? Yes, no, maybe. But that's where you would go.
Yes, it does.
It does. Okay, so that's where that's located at. There's also one other feature I want to point out to people. If you have an unusual sounding name, let me go to, let's see here, let's call it DB for a second. So you can't do this on your PC, but you can do this with your cell phone if you have the LinkedIn app on your phone. Here's this little thing here, and if I click on it,
Hi there, this is DB Winky, LinkedIn subject matter expert.
So that's a way that you can go and put your name in there so people can hear how to pronounce your name. I didn't really know how to pronounce her last name, Winky, wasn't really sure. But after hearing that, I now know how to do that. So if you have an unusual sounding last name, I would recommend that you go and add that. You do with the feature is found only on the mobile app of LinkedIn, but you should be able to do it. I think it's a really interesting little tool to be able to do that and to make it a little bit easier for people. So any other questions? I recommend everybody save the chat window so that you can save the chat window so you're able to connect with other people who are on the call today. If you want to connect with Ruth, here is her LinkedIn profile. She may have changed. I know she changes her picture every few months, so I'm not sure if this is the current one that's up there, but she'll have something up there. She's there. You're welcome to connect with her, but always remember, don't forget to send that personal note. Very, very important. All right, I need everybody, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. Very, very, very important. As you know, there's a white connect button and a blue connect button. Whenever you see the white connect button, it automatically sends that LinkedIn request out to that person. So if you see a white connect button, click on the person's face. It'll then take you to their profile. When you get to their profile, you can then click on the blue connect button, and a blue connect button will always allow you to connect. If for some reason you don't see a blue connect button and it says follow, that means they've gone into creator mode. And what you do is just go to more, just go over a couple little sections there, click on more, and you'll be able to find a connect button there. Career DFW, Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Please join us the rest of this week. Tomorrow, Tuesday, Mark McDonald and Walt Glass will talk about avoiding interview crashes. This is Walt and Mark have been doing, they've conducted thousands of interviews over the last many years. And one of the things that they see that happens over and over again, no matter how much you practice, you tend to make the same mistakes. And these will be some common mistakes that everybody makes. So please check us out tomorrow at 1 o'clock. This Thursday, being the third Thursday of the month, we have a special guest speaker, Mitch Jacobs will be with us to talk about effective resumes. Mitch worked at Jewish Family Services in the Career Service Center for over 28 years. He's experienced, he knows what he's talking about. Come join us this Thursday at 1 p.m. And then this Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, we got a really interesting talk. Susan Holly, a senior tax consultant with H&R Block, or now it's Block Advisors, we'll be talking about year-end taxes, things you need to think about for 2022, things you need to prepare to pull together for your tax season. This session will not be recorded. H&R Block or Block Associates does not allow her stuff to be recorded. But so if you want to watch it, you will need to watch it live. So come join us this Friday at 9:30 in the morning. Scott says, yuck. Oh, come on, Scott. You got to get your taxes. You got to think about it. It's one of those things you just have to do. So come join us. After this week, we're not going to have any scheduled sessions for the next 3 weeks. The week before Christmas, the week between Christmas and New Year's, and the first week in January. So happy holidays to all. We'll be back on January 10th with new LinkedIn sessions. So, please join us we'll be here the rest of this week, but after this week, we will be on the next 3 weeks. We will be not doing this every day. All right, if you'd like to join the Career DFW or Career USA LinkedIn groups, you're welcome to do so on the Career DFW LinkedIn group. We have over 14,200 members. You do not need to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to join or to be part of that group. It's the first group I joined when I started the website. This session has been recorded. You will be able to go back and watch it on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. On the Career USA YouTube channel, just click on playlist. I have over 430 videos up there right now. click on LinkedIn where you see the very bottom there, click on what says view full playlist, and up will come a list of all the dates and topics, and you can go back and watch whatever it is you'd like to watch at your convenience. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops and you'd like to join the Career USA mailing list, please send an email to Career USA, the + subscribe at groups.io. You'll never be spam, but what you will get is the topic of the day, the title of the day, and the most important bit, the Zoom link of the day. That way you can join us on Zoom, but you can always join us on Facebook Live for all of our sessions. Remember, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. All of our speakers are volunteers. I'm a volunteer. Everything I've done over the last 14 years has just been to help you land your next great opportunity. So thank you very much for joining us today, everybody. Sorry we went a little bit past 2 o'clock, but hopefully we'll see you tomorrow, Thursday, and then or Friday. If we don't, happy holidays.